an unrehearsed program. The views expressed are those of the guests and not necessarily those of the producer. Today's topic:
the case against the Christian convert in Passion for Truth award-winning program.
Welcome to another edition of Passion for Truth. The case against Christian convert in Afghanistan raises some controversial issues. It has fired passions in the West and highlighted a conflict of values between Afghanistan and its Western allies. Has the U.S. established a new Muslim fundamentalist regime in Afghanistan? We are going to talk about this. Next is Sardar Khan Singh Tillon, former senatorial aide, managing partner, Regent Company, and recently elected president of the Mount Vernon Lee Chamber of Commerce. Dr. Dennis Warner, a representative of Pax Christi, the International Catholic Peace Movement, also senior technical advisor to Catholic Relief Services. He has been involved in interfaith activities for some years. Dr. Walter Landry, founder of Think Tank Movement for National Self-Determination, also writing a book on emerging nations. Dr. Abul Hassan Ansari, a researcher on the historical perspectives of Indian events impacting on Muslims in India and abroad, and Dr. Joseph Annunziata, with expertise on international affairs. As a former professor, Dr. Annunziata was an advisor to the Assistant Secretary of Defense on international issues. He was also a senior staff member at the White House. Welcome you all.
Thank you.
In Afghanistan, starting with you, Joe, there is no legal guarantee of religious freedom, and the judiciary is instructed to enforce Islamic principles. So how do you read that?
Well, I think this is a problem in many countries where you have a dominant religious belief. It could be a Catholic country, it could be an Anglican country like in England. There seems to be a preference to give special treatment to that dominant religion. It's unusual to find a constitution like we have in the United States, where it becomes a pluralistic society and the rights of minorities are guaranteed. And I think Afghanistan and a number of other countries have a way to go to provide that kind of guarantees for the minorities, especially religious minorities.
I'm sorry. Dr. Ansari, this case does threaten Afghan reforms.
Well, that's very true. First of all, excuse me, let me tell you a couple of things. I'm sure everybody is aware of the story. A lot of you know about Islam. Perhaps you don't know enough. He brought about the topic of Sharia. What is Sharia? Sharia means you are basing your system of justice based on Quran and Hadith. Hadith means what Prophet did, whatever is not clear in Islam. And what this incident that happened, that's very, very unfortunate. It should not have happened. And there are fanatics in every religion. Christianity has it, Jews have it, Hindus have it, Muslims have it, but they represent only the minority. And I'm going to quote you the word from Quran. Sharia means you are basing everything on Quran and you cannot do anything against it. For example, a Muslim is supposed to pray 5 times a day. If you say I'm going to pray 4 times a day and that's right, you are not a Muslim, because this is what Quran says.
Okay, now let's stay focused on the subject. We are saying, what is the future of Afghan's Supreme Court if Sharia law is going to be enforced?
Well, see, this I'm trying to explain the Sharia law. Whatever they did, the individual or the country or the group is not an Islamic act. In Quran, this says very, very clearly that la ikraha fi din. This is an Arabic version. That means do not force anybody in the matter of religion. You are free to choose whatever you want to be.
So what the Afghan folks did, they did it against the Muslims.
That is un-Islamic.
Okay. All right.
That is absolutely un-Islamic, and I'm saying it again and again.
Okay, let me move on to Dr. Landry Walter. What do you see as the future of Afghanistan's Supreme Court?
Well, I think the Supreme Court of Afghanistan will, as these cases arise, will make decisions that will become more understandable in the West, and will take a broader view and a deeper understanding of Islam and its principles in terms of application. I think it's a rather extraordinary case that this man converted to Christianity, and then they don't want him to be a Christian anymore in his society. But I think Afghanistan is a relatively new country in many respects, so give it a chance to develop and mature. That's my suggestion. And they've alleviated the situation. The man has moved to Italy, and that will at least resolve that question for now. But they will think about it more in the future. That's all.
First of all, Afghanistan is
Okay,
not
I'll come back to you.
Okay.
Let me go to Dennis. Dennis, the thing is, what is the future of Christians in a country where there are 99% of the people are Muslims?
Well, if you look at a situation like that traditionally, and Afghanistan is a country with 99% Muslim, Christians have always been respected in Islamic countries. And in fact, there are people of the book, so Christians and Jews have always been allowed to practice their religion. They've not been allowed to be full citizens in the full sense of the law, but they've had this respect, and this is much more than Christian societies have given to other religious minorities in their countries. So I think the future of religion in Afghanistan, as well as any country, depends very much on how that country becomes part of the whole international community. And here's where other countries have a role to play, to pull them in to the international sphere, to bring about a greater understanding of human rights, international law, and what are conventions that countries need to adopt to be able to work together. And one is religious tolerance. Now, Islamic countries have a history of religious tolerance, and that can be built on, and I'm hopeful for that reason.
The problem is, the country's constitution says no law shall contravene the principles of Islam. So if we look at that, regardless of what Islam says and regardless of who is violating Islam, but if they are asked to follow the law as those guys understand, does that occur to you that we have established a new fundamentalist regime or what?
You know, I think I would agree with what a fellow panelist, Dr. Landry, stated, which is that everything takes time to reform and conform itself. You look at the oldest and the largest democracies in the world, both which are now creating a strong alliance. Look at how long it's taken them to get to where they got. I think that Afghanistan will further begin to identify its identity. As yet, it's still in the process of forming that. And so it's too early to really make any statement as to where it's going and where it'll end up, because, again, it was only a matter of years ago that it in fact experienced a drastic change in the direction it was heading. So we must give it time. We must try to support the process there, and we must continue to try to ensure, though, that fair and equitable and open democracy is provided for those folks and for the individuals who continue to reside there.
But
I think there is a movement towards fundamentalism in many religions around the world. And when you have that determination to have your religious beliefs dominate the values of a country, you are running into a potential clash between that point of view and those people who would like religion to be more neutral and less determined to dominate. We have Christian fundamentalists in this country who would like the government to adopt all the values of a Christian belief. School prayers in school, anti-abortion, whatever their values are. And so you find that in Hinduism, you find that in Islam, you find that in Christianity. So there is a more fundamental clash, I think, worldwide between those people who want to espouse more liberal and generous understanding and tolerance for all religious beliefs, and those people who want their religion to be exclusively adopted by an entire country.
Well, I would just take a little issue with Joe in this, that a country that has a long established democracy, a democratic system, should be held to a higher standard than a country that has just become independent in the last few years. And we should be a little more tolerant and understanding of new